Hey guys, it's Spacey Sims, and we're back with more Chaos Child. And we kind of left at a nice cliffhangery point where we're maybe, I guess, gonna fight Dad in the theater cube. We thought we killed Serica, but it turns out that was a delusion, and Dad's not really a psychic. He just has a machine. So it's like, all we have to do is break the machine. Come on. So, no. Here we go. It couldn't be. Was Serica... She's dead, obviously. Funny, ain't it? He seemed to say. Even when I put her under mind control or had her fight you in her delusions, she put her die sword away and didn't resist, right up until the moment you killed her. It's amazing how much she cared about you. Ooh, did we actually kill her? Oof, that's rough. I don't know if I necessarily believe him though, so I'm gonna hold out being upset. No, because I don't, I don't know. He kicked her hard enough that she turned over. Stop it. You, though, you were amazing. You were consumed with rage over losing Nono, and I just gave that little boost. And then you killed her without mercy. It's amazing how much you cared about Nono, too. I could feel my whole body getting hot. Stop it! Don't say Nono's name. Not with that face. Not with that voice. What the hell are you thinking? Huh? Huh? The way Dad's expression didn't change at all only made me madder. Did he really not understand? We'd all lived together for years, right? We'd come here as a family, hadn't we? Yuto and Yuki are worried about you. Oh, what? You haven't told them yet? Yui always trusted you, and no.
It started with what you said when I was helping Takuro with his physical therapy. You're doing a great job for someone who hasn't gone to school. I'm impressed. I'm sure that's just the way a father is. I love the rules you made for our family. Thank you.
It was her letter.
Please don't drink too much.
She had no idea. She believed in you. She thought you were part of our family. So what are you thinking? My words echoed off the walls of the theater and came back to me again and again. And then I realized that I was the same way. I believed in Dad too, from the bottom of my heart. But he... Dad chuckled and scratched his head like I'd seen him do many times before. It was the same thing he'd done when Nono was scolding him at home. Takuro, do you have anything you enjoy doing? Huh? There's gotta be something you like, right? There's no point in living otherwise. What was he talking about? That wasn't what I'd asked. Why did you kill Yui? Why did you kill Nono? Huh? Your friend killed Yui and this girl killed Nono. Shut up!
I know that I screaming in the game, but that doesn't mean you get to scream. You has to be good bird. Stop it.
Oh, scary. The hell was so funny? I clenched my hands into fists, my grip so tight in my rage that my nails dug into my skin. How are you capable of doing this? It doesn't make sense. Don't get so mad, okay? I just told you. You need to have fun. The hell does that mean, though? I had great expectations for you. You were so broken that you were capable of real booting a complete human being. I was looking forward to seeing how far you could go, how crazy you could become. Huh? If a gigalomaniac like you started doing whatever he wanted, whenever he wanted to do it, it'd be amazing. You could wreck the whole world. It'd be hilarious. I couldn't wait to see it, so I observed, calculated, theorized, did more experiments. Can't wait to see what lies at the end of that loop. Isn't it exciting, Takuro? I can do anything? You probably shouldn't have told me that. Now I'm gonna fucking kill you. I'm just saying. If we were smart, we'd think that, but we're too enraged right now to think these things, so... Dad kept using the same voice he'd always used at home. But I wasn't hearing a word. The anger inside me just kept building. What I'm saying is this. No matter what happens, do what you think is fun. Think of it as a life lesson from your dad. Dad? You're not my dad! I screamed, but Dad kept smiling. You were? Anyway, to me, Gigglomaniac research is the most fun thing in the world. There's nothing else that's so entertaining. That's your answer. But that can't be... That was the only reason? The only reason he'd work for the committee. The only reason he'd done these horrible experiments in the basement. And the reason you did that to Yui, Nono, Ito, and all the others? How many times do I have to tell you? Because it was fun. You... The next thing I knew, I was running. The dice sword appeared in my hand instantly. Oh, it's pink this time! It's pink this time! It was blue before. It had no weight, but I could feel it was there. I listened to the blades roar as I ran down the corridor. And swung it upward at the bastard on the stage. Oh! Here's the thing. He's probably older, bigger, stronger, but he's also like, well, unless he faked, well, he's not drunk now, but he's also like kind of like chubby and probably out of shape. We're skinny and out of shape, so we're both out of shape, but I'm just saying, come on. Like, he's also got that giant pack on his back. That's going to exhaust him faster than us. So, there was a high-pitched noise and a brilliant light, and I stopped. My hand went numb for a second. The mechanical die sword had blocked my swing. Well, it's not going to be that easy. Here. Dad's muscles bulged like thick ropes as he swung his giant die sword down at me. Oh, and now we're going to pretend that he's been, like, super strong this whole time? Well, that would be a good ruse, huh? I barely managed to block it, but the impact knocked me back into the front row seats. There was a sharp pain in my arm. It had been cut a little. It was a delusion before, but this time real blood was running down my arm. Well, last time you thought it was real blood, too. Oh, come on! We cannot wimp out this fast! Wait, are you really thinking about getting in a fight with me? With your strength? I can make anything happen. I can make a whole other person. Let's go. Dad didn't move a step. He raised the giant die sword onto his shoulders. His huge body was at least 185 centimeters tall, and he towered over me from the stage like a wall. Well, I guess I can play with my son once in a while. It's not fair to give the girls all the attention. Sounds gross. Come on up! I do wish we had more than a single corpse for an audience, but what can you do, huh? Then he kicked Sarika's unmoving body once more. I felt anger, but also an indescribable despair. I feel like she's not really dead, and at the last second she's gonna, like, woo, pull the little cord and, like, rip his thing apart, and then, yeah. She's gonna save the day at the last second, despite the fact that we held out for, like, 99% of the battle, and she's gonna do the last 1%, and it's gonna be like, well, without her we wouldn't have won, so, like, you know. What was I doing here? I'd come to find out the truth from Sarika, but I'd killed her myself. There was no reason for me to be here anymore. So didn't that mean there was no reason to try and fight Dad? No, it wouldn't even be a fight. I'd probably just get myself killed. So maybe... When Sarika had cut open my leg before, it had only been an illusion. I could run to the exit. If I caught him off guard, I could escape. Maybe. But... Damn it all! I went forward. I hadn't done any real exercise since my physical therapy 6 years ago. A vision of Nono and Yui flashed through my mind. And for some reason, I saw Sarika smiling like she used to do when we were in the newspaper club. What's wrong? Come on up to the stage. The audience is getting bored. When I looked at him, I suddenly had an idea in the corner of my mind. I remembered what he'd said. That the machine on his back was what gave him his power. There you go. And also, you're so powerful, you created a whole person. We can do anything, and we just have to undo the machine. I mean, come on. There you go. That he was an artificial gigalomaniac. Then what if I could get rid of that machine? I might be able to do it. No, I have to do it. Good boy. I stood and climbed up onto the stage. The light shone down upon my head. I could hear a non-existent crowd screaming for my death from the empty seats. I readied the die sword. My hand still felt a little numb. Hey, look. I took a step to the trying to look as many as die. By moving to the side, I was able to see part of the device. Hit him with my power as hard. Dad heard a noise behind. I had a clear mean. Now! I concentrated harder and hit him with more of my power. You asshole! He's Gus an asshole. How are the turntables? Thanks. Good job. Okay. Dad held animal, but I didn't destroy that machine. What the fuck? What is this? Huh? My vision suddenly blurred. I felt a cold wind on my cheek, and I could see the city in the distance. Where was I? No, this is all fake, buddy. On top of the school. Damn it! More mind control. I panicked and tried to use my die sword. Huh? It was gone. The die sword had disappeared. The hell? Damn it! I concentrated as best I could. I imagined the pale light of the sword. Come on. I couldn't see him or sense him. But Dad was probably right in front of me with his huge die sword. But I couldn't make my die sword appear. Wow. I couldn't see it. I couldn't find it. It was always supposed to appear when I imagined it.
What did you want to talk about, Non?
Serica was standing there on the roof. And so was...
Don't try and fool me. With your power, you know exactly what I want to talk about. Right, Serica?
It was Nono. Nono was standing in front of me talking. Nono's alive. Nono is... No, that's not right. My sense of logic dispelled the hope that was forming in my mind. This was mind control. Dad's power was causing me to hallucinate. The two of them were right in front of me, but didn't seem to know I was there.
So you knew Nono Kurusu? Yes.
Suddenly, Serica changed. The smiling, happy girl from the newspaper club disappeared. She became a cold, remorseless killer. She also wasn't standing in that spot, I don't think, was she? I don't know why. I feel like the background was different. I mean, we were on the roof, but I feel like the background was different, and this is where Nona was standing, and then Serica's was different. What? It's weird. Anyway. Stop it! Oh, no, wait. I knew I was being mind controlled, but couldn't help myself. I felt a cold chill in my heart, and all the hairs on my body stood up on end.
Then you must know what's coming next, right?
Serica's die sword appeared in her hand. Nona didn't seem surprised. She just glared at Serica. Stop it. Stop it, Serica.
Are you gonna kill Takuru too? No, I'll keep him alive. That's why I exist. I don't believe you. That's why I'm gonna stop you, even if it kills me.
I like that her die sword is literally just like a fucking claw hand. It's so bizarre.
I thought you'd say that. That's why you're in the way.
Don't! I screamed as Serica stepped forward, but there was no sign that she heard me. I tried to summon my die sword, but it didn't work. I tried to get between the two of them. And I realized I couldn't move. My legs felt like they were frozen to the ground. Why? Why? But my head was clear. I couldn't let this happen. I knew I had to stop it, but... Serica and Nono's dye swords slammed into each other. There was a flash so bright I was forced to close my eyes. And Nono's dye sword cracked. And she said something, but we can't hear. You made a mistake. I can see exactly what you're thinking. I can't believe you still thought I was your friend. Serica kept going forward. There was no hesitation on her face. No, don't! No matter how much I screamed, they didn't hear me. I couldn't move. Serica crossed right in front of me, carrying her gigantic, deadly weapon. There's no friendship within me. And in the next moment, I don't know, I'm assuming this is Nono saying it.
Takeru, I'm sorry.
It felt like Nono looked at me. And then, Serica's dye sword ran her through. And suddenly I was seeing something else. I felt a cold wind in my cheek and I could see the city in the distance. Huh? I could hear a sob. I'd been crying without realizing it. I looked around, forgetting to even wipe the tears from my cheeks. The roof was lit up by the moon. There was nothing here. There was no one here. Of course, there was no sign of Serica or Nono's body. Then what was that? Calm down. Calm down. It was all mind control, all just a hallucination. It was a fake vision that my dad had created. I mean, it was kind of basically what happened. I think some of the lines were different, but we can either... I would say it's... we're seeing what actually happened, and we just, like, when we watched it the first time, didn't hear all of the conversation, because it was... You know what I mean? So, that's right. It was just like a movie. It had to be. Nono died at Serica's hand. Serica had killed Nono. That had really happened. I'd seen it. But it wasn't happening now. It was all part of the past. There was no changing it. We have magic past-changing abilities.
What did you want to talk about, Non?
Oh my god, we're just in a fucking loop.
Don't try and fool me. With your power, you know exactly what I want to talk about, right, Serica?
Again. The two of them were standing there just as they were before.
So you knew Nono Kurusu? Yes? And you must know what's coming next, right? Are you going to kill Takuru too? No, I'll keep him alive. That's why I exist. I don't believe you. That's why I'm going to stop you, even if it kills me.
I thought you'd say that. That's why you're in the way. The two of them played out the exact same scene as before. There was still no sign they'd noticed me. My heart began to pound loudly again. I remembered how it felt to hold Nono's body in my hands. The smell of her blood and the way the warmth drained from her body. And the way her eyes would never look at me again. Calm down. I tried to tell myself that again and again. This was part of the past. Screaming wouldn't change it. No. Maybe this wasn't even part of the past. I hadn't heard this conversation. Everything except the fact that Serica had killed Nono might be a hallucination that my dad had created. I tried to run away, growing ever more frustrated at my unmoving legs. But nothing worked. That's right, the real me wasn't even here. I was on top of the stage, trapped in a hallucination with Dad and his gigantic dye sword standing right in front of me.
You made a mistake. I can see exactly what you're thinking. I can't believe you still thought that I was your friend.
Serica raised her dye sword and advanced. It was coming back. I never wanted to go through that again, but it was coming back. I looked away. No, I tried to look away, but my head wouldn't move. I couldn't take my eyes off it. Nono looked at me.
Takeru, what are you doing here?
What? Sarika killed Nono again. She can see... We're going to keep doing this loop until we change something. And then I found myself back at the beginning once more. On the cold moonlit roof. I wrapped my arms around my body tightly, trying to warm myself against the freezing air. What was that? Nono had looked at me. I'd seen her looking at me. I was sure of it. She'd seen me? No, that was impossible. I wasn't really here. But maybe it had something to do with her power. That was Nono's voice I'd heard, and she had been looking at me. If I was a real gigalomaniac, did that mean I had the power to change the past? If that was true, was that the real Kurusu, not a hallucination? Calm down. Calm down. My head hurt, and I was losing the ability to think. No, this was an illusion. It was all an illusion. There was no way I could change the past. What did you want to talk about, Non? Oh my God. I'm going to get to the point where I'm going to throw something if I have to keep repeating these lines.
Don't try and fool me. With your power, you know exactly what I want to talk about. Right, Sarika? Oh my God, seriously, again?
Eventually we're going to change or do something different, but like, how many times do we have to read the lines before he does it? On my third time seeing the exact same thing, I finally closed my eyes. Stop it! I don't want to see Nono die anymore. I put my hands over my ears to block out the sound, but I could hear them speaking the same words. The last conversation Nono would ever have flowed directly into my head.
You made a mistake. I can see exactly what you're thinking. I can't believe you still thought I was your friend. There's no friendship within me.
I didn't have to look to know what was happening. I knew the expression on their faces. I knew the looks in their eyes. The angle that Sarika held her dye sword at, and even how she was going to swing it. I knew it all.
Takeru, why won't you save me?
Well, it's like, okay, there's a part that you're like, huh. Are we able to change the past? Is that possible? Or this is a hallucination that we're just on this repeat, and then he's going to make us hallucinate that she's saying these things over and over to drive us crazy. You know what I'm saying? Could be either way. I don't know. I felt warm blood splash on my face the second I closed my eyes. There was no time to even scream. I mean, the thing is if we have the ability to change the past, then it's kind of like, well, I mean, then I'm curious how we go down other routes in the game and then we can go back and change the past. I mean, you know what I mean? Then the common route would be like, okay, we go back and we change the past and none of this happens. And awesome! You know? And fix stuff and nobody die and, you know, whatever. What would be then the point of all the other routes where bad things could still be happening? You know what I mean? People could still die in those other routes. Like, wait, are we going to have to change that path? You know what I mean? Like, because there's alternate paths that we take, being able to change the past in this one, unless, you know, we're supposed to be, maybe we could do it, but we don't do it in this route. And then as we go, when we get toward the end, then the true route is us being able to go back and change the past and fix things. That would make sense. But to me, like, that would be the end all be all of the game, right? We figure out our power enough to go back, change things, fix it so that, like, Ito doesn't kill Yui, like, Nono doesn't die, you know, whatever, and yay! That would be, like, say, quote-unquote, the true route. That's where I would see that going. Like, not here, because then let's hop back in and go through this, but split off, where then we don't figure out our power and people still might die. I mean, like, maybe Kurusu doesn't die in one of the other paths, but it's still, like, we're still putting that up to chance, and I don't like that. Like, we're going to go from, like, yay, we fixed everything, to, like, well, let's unfix it now. Doesn't sound like a good idea, is all I'm saying. So, I kept my eyes closed tight, but I could feel the wind on my cheeks again. I was stuck frozen on that roof again. Did I? I felt one blood splash on my face the second I closed my eyes. Did I read that? I think I might have clicked that before reading it. Anyway, I know I saw it, but I don't remember if I read it out loud or just in my head. The muscles in my face had tensed up. There was nothing funny happening, but I was letting out a noise that sounded like laughter, because we're going crazy. My teeth were chattering. What did you want to talk about, Nun?
Don't try and fool me. With your power, you know exactly what I want to talk about, right, Serica?
I covered my ears, but their words went right into my brain. I didn't know how I could possibly be any more confused. What was that? Why was Nono in front of me?
Why won't you answer me?
Stop it! I didn't want to open my eyes. I wanted to keep them shut. But for some reason, the moment Nono was killed, they opened on their own. Nono kept dying in front of me. Nono had taken care of me and kept me safe before I'd even woken up from my coma. From my perspective, that was before I'd even known her. She was a part of my family. She was the only big sister I had. And she kept dying over and over.
Why do I have to die?
My head hurt, but the pain didn't even work as an anchor to keep my mind connected to reality. This Nono was a hallucination. I knew that. But the words she said were ripping apart my mind. That's, I feel like, the point that our dad's trying to do.
Why didn't you save Yui? Why did you try and solve the case at all?
Nono looked at me and kept asking. Were those her last words before she was killed? No. Her dying screams? Her final message? No more. I don't want to see her die anymore. Please, stop it. My eyes were closed, but I could see her death repeated again and again in my mind. The dye sword running through her chest, the blood everywhere, the tiny sound coming out of her throat like air leaking from a bag. Her blood was hot when it landed on my face. It didn't have that metallic smell, but it was hot. Couldn't tell anymore. Was this really a hallucination? Maybe this was the real Nono. And maybe this is what she'd really thought.
Why didn't you save me? Why didn't you save Yui? Why did you try and solve the case at all? I told you not to do anything dangerous. I told you not to get revenge.
I mean, that last part's true. It's your fault. I can't really scream loud because, I heard a sound somewhere. It was a sound of something snapping. I didn't want to see anymore. I didn't want to hear anymore. I didn't want to feel anymore. I closed off my mind, wanting nothing more than that. Come on, don't go into your shell now. I'm sick and tired of seeing you stop moving because of guilt. I heard a voice from somewhere speaking directly into my head, but I held my hands over my ears anyway. I didn't want to hear anything. Fine. I'll have to make it so you can't stop then. You ever heard of Woodburn Heron? Anyway, see you in a month. Have fun breaking. And then, like a computer monitor being powered off, everything disappeared. What? What was this? He just basically fucking shut us down. It was dark. I couldn't see anything. I was in a huge, dark, empty space like nothing I'd ever experienced. I couldn't even tell if my eyes were open or not. I tried blinking, but the darkness didn't change. I tried to rub my eyes to see if that helped, but my hands wouldn't move. No, not just my hands. Nothing moved. Huh. There was no sensation of standing. There was no feeling of weight in my body. I was lying down. No. Was I floating? It was like being in zero gravity or floating in water with no resistance. Like my body was drifting along. The only thing that existed was the quiet. I could hear the sound of my heart echoing. But even in the overwhelming darkness, I felt a little better. Anything was better than seeing Nono die again and again. Didn't matter what. Compared to hearing Nono's last words over and over, I did nothing but float there. It was like being almost asleep, but there was something stopping me from falling asleep altogether. It felt weird and unpleasant. I tried at least to do something about the floating. Okay, I was like, where's the 2 in there? I missed it. But there was nothing to grab onto, nowhere to stand, and my body wouldn't move. I wanted something solid. I tried my best to find it. Suddenly I realized, where was I? What was I doing here? No! This was more mind control. This darkness was another hallucination. Ugh! I tried to scream and wave my arms, but there was no sound and no movement. If I couldn't move, I at least wanted to feel something with one of my senses. It could be a bright light, screaming, even pain, an awful bitter taste or a horrible smell. If I didn't find something fast, I'd lose track of where I ended and the darkness began. I know. What about my shoulder injury from when my dad had knocked me into the seats? I desperately tried to feel the pain in my shoulder, but it didn't work. I couldn't feel anything, even whether or not it was bleeding. It felt like the darkness was gradually burying me, like ants swarming on a piece of candy. The boundary line between my own body and the rest of the world got even blurrier. No way! I finally remembered a certain piece of information. I remember what my dad said just before this happened. Woodburn Heron, was it? I matched the name with what was going on. That was a famous experiment, if I remembered right. Heron's sensory deprivation experiment. He would put subjects in a sound-treated room that was completely silent, then blindfold them so they couldn't see, then tie them up with a straitjacket kept at exactly their body temperature to take away their sense of touch. Except for eating simple meals and defecating, they were kept on a bed at all times. The experiment he'd done was to see how long they could last. The result had been far less than what he'd expected. The most any of them could endure was 2 to 3 days. The worst ones would complain of disturbed thinking after only a few hours. If they continued with the experiment anyway, they would start hearing and seeing things and almost go mad. A human being can't endure long periods of time with no stress or stimulation. The experiment was banned now because of its dangerousness. I remembered something else. Something terrifying. What had my dad said? See you in a month. See you in a month? I was surprised I was supposed to spend a month like this. I screamed, but I couldn't hear my voice. Oh my god. The first change was to my sense of vision. It was after about 2 days had passed, by my reckoning. It would have been about dinner time. I wasn't sleepy or hungry. At some point, I just began to count numbers. 1 second, 2 seconds. It was meaningless, but I felt like I'd go mad if I didn't do something. When I just about passed 100,000 seconds, the darkness in front of me suddenly began to shine. What? Who's there? It wasn't a camera flash or a light bulb. It was just a blurry glow. That was all. I couldn't see anything else or even move. When I saw it, I lost track of my number and started over. The light came every 100,000 seconds. A day was 60 times 60 times 60 times 24, so 86,400 seconds. Perfect. I decided to round up and call each 100,000 seconds a day. When there was no light, I was bored. I wished so many times for something to happen. Someone, come here. Even Dad, I didn't care. I'd rather be fighting a battle with the die swords than I knew I couldn't win. No, actually, I'd rather be stabbed with a die sword. I wanted to feel pain. I thought that when the light came for the 30th time, I could escape. Because that would mean a month had passed. A month was 30 days. But nothing happened. The light just kept coming at the same pace as before. But I just don't feel like we've actually been stuck in here for a month. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, I'm going to imagine that all of this happens in like a short split-second period of time. You know what I mean? When the light came again after 30 days passed, I stopped counting how many times it had come. I stopped counting to 100,000, too. What's the point of counting anyway? You're going to stop counting? No. I heard that clearly. I'd started hearing voices sometime when I neared the 30th appearance of the light. Are you just gonna die like this? What's Miyashita Park like? Hey, Miyashiro, adios again. Adios, gracias. Why did you leave me to die? You idiot, you're just gonna die here? The newspaper club's just getting started, right? Tell me, why didn't you save me? It hurt so much when I died. You ever heard of woodburn heron? The voices came and disappeared without listening to my responses. I'm not sure who was supposed to be speaking and all those, so we heard it in our own voice. I at least wanted to see their faces. I was already starting to forget what everyone looked like. Maybe if I saw them again, I could stop the darkness from swallowing up all my memories. I'll let you out of here. I'll go kill Dad for you. Really? I tried, but it didn't work. I couldn't do it alone. Should we help? Kazuki. That was Kazuki. Really? You'll do that for me? Don't underestimate the power of a teenage girl. Adios, gracias. The adios, gracias, we know that's... What's her name? That's Arnemura, but... Wait! What's wrong, Brother Takuru? No, don't tell me you're lonely all by yourself. Give me a break. That's not true. Of course I'm not lonely. No, I wanted to tell you to be careful. Dad's power is... What was it again? What's wrong? We're Sakuma. I can't go kill him if I don't know. Tell me, you're wasting time. Huh? That's strange. You should be right there. Huh. There? Where's there? Takuru, have you ever heard of woodburn heron? Don't you know I'm a right-sider? Of course I know. He's the guy who came up with the theory that a day is 86,400 seconds. Huh. Amazing, right? I was slowly breaking and melting away. Ow, that hurt. I'm sorry, you're sitting here and like reading blackness on a white screen and then a white bright light. You're like, oh god, that kind of hurts my eyes. Jesus. It's like, ugh. Suddenly I felt something stabbing me somewhere. It was the pain I'd been longing for, but I didn't care anymore. I was just tired of it. I'll kill you. No, please don't stab me. Why? I don't want to die. Why? Because it hurts? You aren't feeling any pain. Takura, are you really there? Nono kept stabbing me as if she was trying to find out where I was. When that sound finally stopped, I heard a wet, slopping noise. Gross. I could tell her hands were jammed inside my body, rummaging through my guts. I could imagine the blood. But Nono was right. I didn't feel any pain. That's strange. I heard a moment ago. Nono? Let me see you. I'm sorry. You can kill me if you want. Why? Because I want to see you. I want to see anybody. I'm lonely. Nono? Nono! Why? Why did you leave? No, wait. Was that really Nono? Was that Nono's voice? Did she really talk like that? Wait a second. What was Nono's last name? That orphanage. I was blanking out on the place's name. There were two sisters there. What were their names? Or wait, was it a brother and a sister? Everything was turning black. Who was that girl who always told me not to lie? Who was the one with the white lab coat? The one who didn't talk? The one who always seemed scared? Who had been stabbing me a moment ago? You don't know? You're a terrible person, aren't you? Shut up! Shut up! Suddenly the noises started to bother me. I don't want to be criticized by these people when I don't even know their names. Please, somebody kill... Ow! I was surprised by a sudden, fierce pain in my head. Thud, thud. I could feel the blood flowing into my head. How many months had it been since I felt pain so clearly like this? No, how many years? Or maybe decades? How long are you going to keep doing that? It hurt a lot more for me. I said shut up! All of you, shut up! I screamed back at the voices. I don't know who you people are, unless they found us and we're in, and this is Kurusu like jabbing at us. I wouldn't be surprised. All of you, just disappear. Save me. Save me. XXXXXXX. Name we don't know. When I said someone's name, everything became better. All the voices disappeared and the pain in my head was gone. Taku, are you okay? Huh? You're not hurt. Nope, you're good. She was right next to me as if that was the most natural place in the world for her to be. Oh no, what are you doing here? I'm always by your side, Taku. It was impossible. When my dad used his mind control on me, I'd killed her. That's right, I remembered. Dad had used his mind control on me in the theater cube at the Hikario. So this was all just a delusion of mine? Yep, just like old times, huh? Sarika laughed. I didn't know why. So, how do you like it? What? Mind control. How's it feel? It's pretty rough. Yeah, it looks pretty comfy. You don't get hungry either, right? Sarika looked around into the empty void. She was acting like she'd just come over to check out a friend's new house. Listen, you know how much it sucks not being able to move if it ever happened to you. Sure, I don't think I could handle it. But you went through that during your physical therapy, right? When I tried not to move back then, I felt pain. Even if I wasn't moving, it felt like I was trying to move. Is that how it works? Sarika tilted her head at me. What's happening on the other side? The other side? Reality. I mean, the me in the theater cube. Probably lying on the ground after he used his mind control on me, right? I didn't even have the slightest idea how much time had passed. But it had to have been much longer than a day or two. The Restoration Festival was probably long since over, and I might have starved to death. People would have found you. You'd probably be in the hospital. I don't think so. If you're talking with me right now, that means you're alive, right? That's true, but you're the one who always talked about how you had to put your information together and think things through logically, right? Oh. So maybe time flows differently here and on the other side. That's right. That's possible. What happened to Hina and the others? Hina? Oh, right. Hinai Arimura. How had I forgotten about her? I think she escaped Shibuya with Shinjo and others. Who are the others? Yuki and Yuto and Kunasato. Huh? What about Hana? She wasn't directly involved in the case, so I had her stay in Shibuya. I see. And then Sarika started asking me one question after another. Could I really not move? Was the light I sometimes saw a hallucination? Were the voices I heard imaginary? Took a long time answering each one in as much detail as possible. I had plenty of time, after all. And just the act of having a conversation was wonderful. It was something I'd done all the time in my daily life and at the newspaper club. Come to think of it, who had first used the phrase, "You don't know what you've got till it's gone," and when did they use it? I don't know. I should have brought my Pokécom, maybe. I laughed a little, though I wasn't sure if Sarika was serious or joking. Each time I would answer one of her questions, Sarika's expression would change. She'd laugh or get mad, and sometimes she'd even try to correct me. She really did seem like a normal person. But what is it? You used to be a delusion of mine. You didn't really exist. Aw, you found out, huh? She acted just like a kid who'd been caught while playing hide and seek. How did it look to other people? If she wasn't real, I must have spent all my time as a kid talking in empty air. I think it was just like you're thinking. But not that many people saw us together, right? Just your parents, mostly. Oh, and Senri, in the hospital basement. That was a screw-up. That's how Nan found me out, you know? That's right. Sarah and I spent almost all our time in my room. I'd never been to her house. No, according to Kunasato, her house didn't exist. You should have told me. I couldn't do that. She laughed, but she seemed a little bothered. But what about that one time? The Shibuya earthquake. Oh. I remembered carrying Sarika through the hell that was post-earthquake Shibuya. But if she'd only just been born when I'd had that headache, when I was in the Yoyogi shelter, I hadn't been really carrying her on my back at all. That's what I said. Only then did I remember why I was here. It wasn't to talk about old times. I don't know, but maybe you just seemed a little off? Not much worse than that. I was unconscious, so you didn't really talk to me much. And with everything else going on, I don't think anybody cared if you were talking to yourself or walking a little funny. Huh? Taku? Huh? What's wrong? Nothing. If I could have moved my body, I would have been looking straight back into Serica's eyes. When I created you, what did I want from you? I'm not sure. She didn't seem surprised or upset at all. I only know what you know right now. And only the me in the real world knows the answer to that. Yeah, that's right. The Serica in front of me might look alive, but she was really just a delusion of mine. So she wouldn't know anything that I didn't. I'd created her again to help me get through this torture. She was just... Oh. Huh? And when I realized it, I was disgusted with myself. I felt so pathetic that I wanted to cry. How could I be so shameless? I killed the real Serica. Even if it was a trap created by my dad's mind control, I'd still killed her with my own hands. She'd almost killed me, and then I'd lost control and killed her instead. I'd torn open her stomach injury and then strangled her. Saying I'd been mind controlled was just an excuse. The rage and desire to kill her I'd felt had been real. Even without the mind control, if the same thing happened in reality, I'd do it again. I'd kill her. But Onoe was different. Even when the imaginary me tried to kill her, she'd chosen to die rather than resist, unlike me. But then I'd wished for her again, just like I'd done during the Shibuya earthquake. And I'd come to her for help again. I couldn't handle the darkness on my own, so I'd created her. I couldn't imagine a worse person than myself. You shouldn't let it bother you, I'm having fun. Enough. Stop it. If you hadn't called me here, we wouldn't get to talk. Don't tell me exactly what I want to hear. Come to think of it, Sarah had always been like that ever since I was little. Yeah, right? Even when I was neglected, she was always jealous of me. She always made me think that I was better off than she was, and she was always like, yeah, we should totally go do all this shit. That's why I thought she was the killer. Yeah! Uh-huh! And then later I figured out that she wasn't real, so, Well, I mean, we made her real, but she wasn't originally real. Whenever I wanted to show off some new pieces of information I'd learned, she'd always act interested. She'd pretended to be a stupid girl so that I'd always get to think of myself as a right-sider. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm really sorry. Taku. Sarika looked hurt when she saw me apologize. Why don't you understand? You don't have to apologize. This is what makes me happy, she seemed to say. But she only looked that way because I wanted her to. My ego and desires had created the role of a kind-hearted young girl that she was forever forced to play. The two of us were like that for a little while. I kept apologizing, and Sarika seemed not to want to hear it. Eventually, she spoke to me like a mother scolding her child. Mitaku, it doesn't mean that you can forgive me. What? I killed Non, right? But the reason may be my fault. No, it wasn't a maybe. There had to be something connected with me. But I'm dead, so you can't ask me now, right? Sarika was right. No, I was forcing her to be right. So then... Of course, I knew what she would say next. Sarika's voice became a light. The one thing that lit up my path in this dark world. What do you want to do, Taku? Suddenly I saw a scene I remembered well. Till a moment ago, the blackness had kept me from remembering, no matter how hard I tried to imagine them. But now I could see my family. They must have been getting ready for dinner. It smelled something good. I looked in the kitchen and saw a lineup of dishes fit for a nursing home. Yui, Yuki, if you take cooking lessons from Nono, they're going to start calling you Mom and Granny at school. Yuta was in the corner, sulking because Yui had made fun of him. Yui was looking at him and laughing. Yuki didn't know what to do. Nono gave Yui a brief scolding, but she was smiling while she did it. It was the same thing I'd seen a million times before. Nothing was different. Everyone was in the club room going over the case. Oh, Ito. We seemed to be talking about Shibuya news. Kunasato had updated some information. Kazuki was playing her game. Ito went to stop her, but froze when she offered him a piece of dried squid. Artimura told a stupid joke, and Ito blushed and started to shake his head frantically. There was still no expression on Kazuki's face. This was another scene I knew well. But this world was never coming back. Like, Ito's gonna survive, but, like, my dad had destroyed it.
Are you okay with that?
Of course not. I loved my family. I loved my friends. Those places were the most precious things I had. He'd ruined them all, and when I'd asked him why, the only reason he could give me was that it was fun. Couldn't let him get away with that. No matter what I did, Yui and Nono weren't coming back. The life I'd had with my friends was gone. My feelings began to break free from the darkness and come to life again. Blood flowed through my body once more, and my senses started to return to me. Because we can break out of his mind control. That's right, I have to get revenge. Even if that meant breaking my promise to Nono. I didn't care what my dad was trying to accomplish with his experiment or what was happening to me. He wanted something from me. What was it? I didn't even want to know.
You don't want to try and find out?
No. I didn't care. I refused to go crazy like he wanted.
Huh. That's not like you.
Shut up.
But I kind of want to see what you look like when you're letting your emotions take control.
I smiled back at her, and then I focused all my neurons on creating a delusion. Where had I been? Who was I so angry at, and where were they standing? If I was in a prison of delusions created by that machine, then I'd have to come up with a delusion that was even more powerful. And then I'd pull him into my own delusion. Oh my god, he's like, ha ha ha, I'm in mind controlling you, and then we just yank him into the mind control and just threw that into our own delusion, and we're like, mind controlling you now, bitch! Cool. The way I remembered it, it was like this.
Wasn't it a little brighter? The lights were shining down on the stage, right?
Were they?
Yeah, I think about this much. Oh, but a bit closer.
Closer, huh? How about this?
Okay, those long hours with the camera really paid off, huh?
Sarika walked around the stage, checking to see if there was anything I'd missed. She must have been satisfied because she nodded several times.
Is the place you're standing okay too, Taku?
If I'm still where I was, then yeah.
What if you aren't?
I'll come up with something when the time comes. There's no sure way to do this, you know. Sarika pretended to be impressed with what I'd said. I laughed at myself, too. Was I really the type of person who was brave enough to do something like this? I used to think that risky decisions weren't courageous, but stupid. I used to think that courage was just a word people used to hide their stupidity.
Oh, right, Taku? Don't try to avenge me, okay?
What?
You have to get revenge for Nan, but no taking revenge for me. Got it?
That's...
Just listen to me. The only person you're allowed to think of when you do it is Nan. Got it?
I'm sorry. And thanks. Those were the only words I could come up with. I didn't know what else I could say.
Come on, Taku. Get a hold of yourself. Otherwise, why did I come here?
Sarika pouted a little. It was the same thing she used to do in the newspaper club. Tried to stop my tears from welling up again. I'm fine. I'm in control. Have I ever not been in control?
Well, there was that one time. Or the other time. And then...
She's back to the Sarika we loved. Look at her goddamn derpy face. I love it. Stop counting them on your fingers. She laughed. And then she looked right in my eyes. I know we imagined her and she murdered people, but, like, she was adorable. And I did like her.
You probably only have one moment where he's off his guard when you come back. So your chance...
One chance is plenty. That's right. I'd only have a few seconds in the world of my delusion. And a few seconds when I got back to reality. I'd probably have less than 5 seconds in total. If he'd been researching psychics for as long as he said, he'd notice what I'd done immediately. So I'd only get one shot. If it didn't work, he'd kill me this time. Serica looked relieved when she saw my resolve, and then she smiled and started to fade away as if her job was done. At the same time, I felt a stabbing pain in my head. It was the pain from when the die sword appeared. Here it comes.
This'll be a risky bet, okay?
Okay.
You're betting your own life, okay?
Okay.
You won't get to make any excuses for your dumb decision, okay?
Okay.
Then go! Get up on that stage, Taku!
Oh no. Ugh. Now we have, well, this one's definitely gonna get copyrighted because that's like the theme song. Hold on a second. I have to turn the background music like off because I'm not 100% sure that, there's always like a lot of copyright issues on this one and like it can't be monetized, which fucking sucks. But I don't know that this song, like a lot of songs in some certain games are like you can't even post them, and I don't want to have to re-record this whole entire part. So I just turned that off so hopefully so you can't hear the theme song, but sorry, I don't want to take any chances. It'd be one thing if it's just like can't monetize, but I've had plenty of times where you can't even post those parts, and I can't. If I take out the song, I have to take out my reading, so I just turned it off. So I slammed my own delusion down on top of the one that held me. We're like at time, but there's no good place to stop, really. We're almost there. It was like splattering bright paint on black canvas. In a single instant, a perfect replica of the theater appeared. Yes, it was working! Dad was in front of me. He looked surprised. I could tell from the shock on his face that he hadn't yet realized that this was a world of delusions sitting atop another delusion, and that I dragged him inside. Ugh! The machine on his back started to creak and moan. Its shape was becoming warped and distorted as if it was being crushed by an invisible giant. Ah! I screamed louder as I tried to use my power to destroy it. Dad stepped back as if to protect it, then the look on his face making it clear that he still couldn't believe what was happening. But it was too late. Yes. Crush it! Crush. Crush it! I hit him with a stronger delusion. The outer frame couldn't take the stress and the machine started to break. Okay, I think the theme song's off, but... You little shit! Dad panicked and raised his die sword to use his mind control on me again. A red light flashed in front of me. But it wasn't the mind control again. It was the opposite. This was the key for the plan that the other Serica and I had come up with. Dad, Sakuma, had made a mistake. Hold on a second. I'm trying to okay, there we go. He thought that I'd escaped from his mind control on my own. He thought I'd escaped from that delusion and made it back to reality. So he did just what we hoped he would, and ended the mind control that was on me now. Even though I was still inside that dark prison. If Dad had stayed calm, he would have noticed his mistake immediately. But it was all so sudden that he'd panicked and made the wrong decision. That black torture chamber was gone, and in that instant I canceled my own delusion. The bonds that had tied me in place were gone. My senses came back and told me that this was reality. The pain of my injury, the smell of blood, the taste of blood, the feeling of the die sword in my hand, Dad howling as he stood there with his fake sword raised high. But just getting back to reality wasn't good enough. I only had a few seconds, probably. I needed to destroy the real device before he figured out the trick. Run! I forced my aching body to move and ran at full speed toward my foe. I lowered my body as I ran and held the die sword ready. Gah! A new attempt at mind control came at me. I could feel it trying to scramble my brain, but I wasn't stopping. I couldn't stop. I bit down hard on my lip and used the pain to check my 5 senses. You're still okay. Don't stop. Run! Keep running. Ah! I swung the die sword down at my father. Ch! Dad tried to dodge it, but that was just what I wanted. We hit the machine. He ducked low, and I could clearly see the device on his back. I slammed the die sword down onto it hard before he could move. Noise. Panting, I pulled the die sword out of the device. Parts flew everywhere. The strange light it had been giving off disappeared, and the artificial die sword he was holding lost its shine. The pain created by his mind control attempts vanished like it was never there. As soon as I saw that the device was destroyed, I fell to my knees. I'd used my power while running at full speed, and it hurt to breathe. I was dizzy from lack of oxygen. You piece of... The fake die sword's still sharp and heavy. Dad's mood suddenly began to change. He seemed to realize what I'd just done. The smile on his face vanished, and instead of anger, there was no expression at all. You know how hard I worked to get this thing put back together? That's not his voice. What happened? I don't know. I'd never heard him use a tone like that before. Takuru? What? Why didn't you break? Why are you alive? No, why are you still sane? There's no way you could have endured that. Why does he sound like Ito now? I don't even know what's happening. Oh, well, I'm the good old dad. Okay, well, that's why, because I can't do this and be angry. Why are you alive? I'm so pissed. I don't even know that's not his voice either. I don't know what happened. Look, I don't know. I know I locked you in there for 30 days. Did I screw up? No, there's no way that guy could do it and I couldn't. I used the die sword as support to help me to my feet. It was fine. I could move. I could move just the way I wanted to. I was sure of it. I'd made it back to reality. We weren't really standing here for 30 days, though. He made us think, so... Answer me! How can you move? I readied the die sword again without saying a word. There was still no expression on Dad's face. I see. Her, huh? So that's it? I looked down. Sarika was lying there looking like she was asleep, even though she was dead. Dad's anger vanished, and instead he started to speak like a scientist observing a guinea pig. That was even creepier somehow. So your imaginary friend was enough to get you through it, huh? I didn't see you going to the person you just killed for help. Damn it. Now that's no fun at all. Dad raised his now dull die sword and came towards me. It was no longer an artificial die sword, but it was still a giant metal blade. Even without his powers, it was more than capable of killing me. I stepped away from him, my own weapon at the ready. It felt like if I looked away from him, I'd be killed. I told you to go mad, didn't I? Didn't I? Ah! The iron blade suddenly came down. There was an impact on my face. I felt some of my back teeth break and blood spurted from my mouth. I'd been knocked onto the floor. I swung the die sword in my hand frantically. I mean, you saw it coming, idiot. Why didn't you duck? For a moment, I experienced the pain and light that were caused by mind control. Was that thing still working? It wasn't broken? It had to be. I dropped the die sword in despair. It vanished. But the mind control never came. My attack a moment ago had damaged it. It's really broken. Goddamn kid! Get off my lawn! He just attacked us again. Sukuma's iron sword struck me on the left leg. An indescribably awful pain ran up my spine and smashed into my brain. Oh, that's scary. I should have just used the mind control to put you in the torture room from the start. Maybe I'll torture you for real right now. How'd you like that, huh?
I would not like that, sir. I would not.
Gah!
It hurt. The pain was unbearable. We're like way over time, but
Was this plan stupid after all? Was there no way to win? Take this! Gah! Nah, there's nothing new to be learned by driving someone mad with pain.
what happened to my leg? My body? Were they still there? I couldn't move, just like in that black prison.
Maybe I'll kick them all in front of you then.
Or kill them all in front of you then, sorry. Huh? I could hear those words clearly, even as my whole body screamed from pain.
They're probably still in Shibuya, right? Ugh.
The instant I understood what he meant, I forgot the pain coursing through my body.
Yeah, that's right. The more important they are to you, the better it'll work.
He kicked me and I rolled along the ground. Then he started to walk away. Wait! Wait! My throat hurt as I screamed. It was frustrating how I couldn't even speak. He was leaving. He was going somewhere. Where? Where else? To where they were. He was going after the people I loved.
I won't let you go!
I tried to stand up, but the leg he'd struck wouldn't move, and I fell to the ground. And I'm going to stop here. It's like, this is just, there's never going to be a good break in this part. There's just never, I probably should have stopped right when we were going to break out of the delusion. Like, I should have stopped there, but I was like, we got a few minutes, but like 10 minutes later, we're still, so. I'm going to have to cock block you and I'm going to stop here. So anyway, I will see you guys next time. Remember to give the video a big thumbs up and subscribe to see more.